Hello, everyone, and welcome to Icons of Inspiration. I am your host, Brian Morales. And in today's episode, we are honored to welcome Rick Guerrero, the Director of Branch Sales and Strategic Partnerships at U.S. Mortgage Corporation. Rick has played a pivotal role in expanding the company's reach, adding 7 new branches across 5 states in the past year. His dedication to the mortgage and real estate industry is further exemplified by his active involvement in numerous organizations, including NAREP, which I'm also part of, and also Mortgage Bankers Association of Georgia and the Atlanta Mortgage Bankers Association. This episode is going to be filled with a lot of great information, so I hope you stick around for the full episode. And before we start, Rick, welcome to Icons of Inspiration. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for having me. I guess you must have Googled my bio. I like to think of myself as a guy that's just screwed up lots of times and learned the right way from screwing up and making mistakes and trying.
Hey, and that's part of the story, and that's how you got where you were, and definitely that's we want to hear about that. So before we go to who Rick is today, to everything that Rick has achieved, I would love to start and take our audience to Rick at the beginning. You know, maybe wherever you think it's most important, maybe right around college or before college. Talk to us.
No, I think college. Yeah. I think college is the best place to start because I think that is where a lot of us go and realize who we are, right? Like prior to college, we're in high school, we're sheltered by our parents, like we're fed, we have 3 meals, etc. You go to college, and everyone's experience in college is different. But for me, like I couldn't wait to get out of my house and experience life. But then you learn that you got to start paying your own bills. And it changes, right? Yeah, so I graduated high school, went to University of Houston. I lived at home for a while, and I actually tried to stay home as long as I could. But my parents were like, "Hey, it's time for you to leave the nest and go become a man." So I moved out, got an apartment, and I went to school full time, and I worked 2 full-time jobs, or 1 full-time job and a part-time job. I sold clothes at the Men's Warehouse in Houston. And then I bartended. I was a bar back. So I didn't bartend. I wasn't even that good. I was the guy that runs back and forth with a bartender to the freezer and gets the beer. So I was getting the beer and the margarita mix at this awesome Mexican restaurant in downtown Houston. And then I went to school full time for 12 hours a day. So I would schedule my classes Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I would work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I wanted to start there because, in going to college Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'd go up, 8 a.m. I'd be there all day long. I'd have my classes scheduled. But as a poor college student, one of the biggest things that I was struggling with was food, right? When you barely have enough money to pay your bills and pay your college, like it's hard to get food. So I remember like my 3rd year in college, I had made it into the School of Business at University of Houston. And I remember walking in and seeing like flyers. The African American Accounting Society meeting, free pizza. And I'm like, Yeah. The Asian Association of Marketing, free burritos or tacos or Taco Tuesday, whatever. And I'm like, I've taken accounting, fundamental, basics. I'm going to go there and mix and mingle and eat. So I would go to these events for the free food, but I didn't want to make it seem like I was just going there for free food. So I had to learn how to like talk and mix and mingle and work the room to get to the place where the food is and then leave. So and I like to share that story because I really feel that kind of set me up to where I am today, to not be afraid to talk to people and not be afraid of like not fitting in or not clicking in. When you got to eat, you find ways to make it happen. And I did that. And then I just established these principles in myself where I got comfortable working in rooms. I got comfortable talking to people. I got comfortable talking to everybody from every type of ethnicity and every type of community because, I just wanted to eat and make friends.
Absolutely. Like they say, necessity is the mother of all innovation. And
100%.
Let me tell you, especially when you're hungry, you will achieve incredible things that maybe you never thought of. And I can relate a little bit. Now, just before we started the show today, we were speaking about, I mentioned to you about networking and the ability to be able to speak to people and how to form those connections and not everybody has that skill and a lot of times it's not the most difficult skill to have, but the very first step of just taking that step and introducing yourself, for a lot of people it's it's probably one of the toughest hurdles that they're ever going to pass.
So I read a book recently that addresses all that and helps you through that. And I read this book and I'm reading it and I'm thinking, damn, I wish I would have read this in college because I've done a lot of these things, but I learned it from trial and error. If I would have read this book in college, it would have been like the cheat code. I could have been so much further ahead, but also in life. And that book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an old book.
Yeah.
I
haven't read it yet, but yep, absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Like it's written like in the, I don't know, early 1900s, 1800s, but the same principles apply. And it's what I was doing, just learning through trial and error. So I highly recommend that book.
Absolutely. So once you're there, once you got the food going, and once you're, because from the sound of a lot of those groups, I mean, it looks like you could have learned a lot of valuable information as well, from attending.
I probably could have if I wasn't so hungry and focused on eating. I probably could have. No, I did. I built a lot of great connections and networking, and met a lot of good peers, and it really helped me navigate through college because I'm really thinking back 20 years when I was there. When you're going to college, sometimes you're picking your classes and you know what professor to pick, or you don't know. There's so many things you don't know, and when you start networking in those groups, like, oh no, avoid that person, schedule with this instructor, or do this or do that, and it really helped me navigate how to get the best experience out of college. And then from doing all that, I joined an organization. I forget the name. It was basically like the Hispanic Business HBSA, the Hispanic Business Student Association at University of Houston. And that organization had partnerships with organizations like Alpha, the Association of Latin Professional in Finance and Accounting, Nishimba, the National Society of Hispanic MBAs, as well as other organizations. I don't remember the name. And so being a part of HBSA, I was exposed to leaders within our community, in the Hispanic community. And coming from Texas, and like my family's from a border town, we're from Brownsville, Texas. If you throw a rock, the rock falls in Mexico. Like you just it's not a safe place down there. So coming from a border town, like you don't see many Hispanic leaders in corporate roles or in executive roles. So being exposed to that at University of Houston and through these organizations really opened my mind to what could be if I worked hard.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to your point, I think that's one of the many reasons why I joined NAREP, the same organization that we're both part of. It's being able to see somebody that looks like you, has a similar background, and seeing how far they can go and what they can achieve. And to your point, growing up, no, I didn't see anybody either at those type of levels. So it didn't seem like it didn't even seem like an option. So you didn't even consider it. You're thinking about
Right.
everything that maybe your parents did, or the people that at this, at a lower level, if you will. Um, but yeah, but being able to see that, it's inspiring. It makes you want to go for
Yeah.
more. It makes you want to achieve it. And even if you have to restart, and learn a new skill to get there, you'll do it because it's possible. So what was next after you joined that organization?
So I graduated college, and at the time, again, I was working at Men's Warehouse full time. I got promoted to assistant manager in the Westheimer area, and then they asked me to relocate to New Orleans to manage the top producing store in that market in Metairie, New Orleans. So I relocated to New Orleans, manage a store, and like any young man's story, I meet a girl, fall in love. I felt like I hit the jackpot. I met a girl that Lisa, my current wife, met her. She was going to school at Tulane, studying, getting a master's in public health. She was going to get a job at the CDC. So I'm thinking, master's, public health, CDC. I'm going to be set. I'm not going to have to work anymore. I'm going to be a trophy husband. This is great. So she gets a job at the CDC. I follow, relocate to Atlanta, and here's a hidden secret. Government employees at the CDC, dude, they do not make what you think they make. They make less than six figures. They do not make enough for us to live on, enough for me to be a trophy husband. So I had to keep working, which is fine. But so I look at coming to Atlanta through Men's Warehouse, and unfortunately, they wouldn't relocate me. So I had to find a job. So I interviewed everywhere, and nobody would hire me. And you met me, like I'm not a dud, like I'm a pretty interesting person. Like I have some skills. Nobody would hire me. I couldn't get a job. I applied at these temp agencies. I applied everywhere. Nobody gave me a shot. I had tons of interviews. Everybody passed. So somebody told me that State Farm will hire anybody. I was like, really? So, and that might be a stretch, but they said that State Farm has this great program where you can come in and they will develop you into a State Farm agent and help you open up your own franchise, like your own office. And they'll pay you while you're training. And the challenge I had with relocating was I made pretty good money from the Men's Warehouse. And it was hard to find a job and starting over when you get used to a certain level of life, right?
Absolutely.
So State Farm hired me and they matched what I made at Men's Warehouse while they trained me. And then they allowed me to open up my own State Farm agency in Atlanta. So I decided to go for it. I opened up a State Farm agency. And so keep in mind, an insurance agency, that's a business that's 100% based on your sphere of influence, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I'm moving to a city where I don't know a single person. So like, that is, but they hired me and they were willing to give me a shot. So I started there, and the same thing, like I was in college, dude. I attended every networking event I could, again, because I had to eat. But it was a little bit different phase of life, but I still had to eat, right? And I attend every networking event. I met with everybody I could. I went to coffee appointments. If you were anybody that I thought I can learn from, and like that list was broad, I would beg to grab coffee with you and pick your brain. And that's all I did for 6 months before I opened up my agency. All I did for 6 months was network my butt off while I was getting trained at State Farm. So I came across NAREP and I met some amazing rep, and I felt like this is an organization that can help me with my real estate business. So I decided I'm in part of the NAREP, Hispanic real estate. I'm going to go target building my insurance business off of the real estate industry. When you sell a home, they need home insurance, right? What better way than developing a relationship with Brian? And Brian says, call my guy Rick at State Farm, he'll get you covered. So I started going after realtors. But then I learned realtors are great, but the person that really makes the decision for insurance is the lender.
Yeah.
Because the lender's like, look, we're clear to close. I need a deck page right away if we're going to close on time. I learned that. And I learned that I started telling lenders, I will get you a deck page within an hour. You call me, it's in front of you within an hour. Who wants to wait? So I learned that. I started getting calls from loan officers. Well, then I started visiting offices, and I learned that sometimes the processors order the insurance. I told the processor, look, if you're tired of waiting on XYZ insurance company to get you that deck page, I'm 1 hour guarantee. Send me your request. And it was easy for me to say that I'll guarantee within 1 hour because I know lenders don't work past 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have to worry about working late or till midnight. So I used to go to networking events, and my friend Tim Herr, I don't know if you know Tim, he was the national president for ARIA. Tim Herr used to like work the room with me at networking events. Like, this is my boy Rick. He's the insurance agent. He'll get you a deck page 24/7. He'll get it with you for an hour. And he was like putting out this narrative. I'm like, dude, pump the brakes, calm down. I don't need people reaching out to me at midnight, but in real estate, no one's working that late, so it was okay. So I just got in the habit of every week going to mortgage offices, and then the managers would ask me like, "Hey, Rick, like, who are you? What are you doing here?" And I tell them I'm in insurance. They're like, "Wait a minute, you're an insurance agent, and you're coming to our offices every week and prospecting?" I'm like, "Yeah." Will you come in and do a class and teach our loan officers to do that? Sure. Wait a minute, you're going to allow me to get in front of more of your loan officers? Done. So I would come in and I would teach classes to loan officers on how to prospect realtors and like how to go to networking events for realtors, like how to talk to realtors. Not that you need to be unique or special, but for whatever reason, there's an opportunity there where I can help people. So then before long, mortgage managers would be like, all right, man, we love your classes. What loan officers are you working with that are awesome, that are great? Oh, you need to know this person. And I started connecting people. I started connecting loan officers and managers. And I became like an unofficial, by accident. It wasn't on purpose. I became an unofficial, accidental recruiter. And my friends were making moves because of me.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was nuts. Complete accident. So a good friend of mine that I was connecting and helping, he moved to a national role at a national mortgage company. And he's like, Rick, who do you know? I'm looking for a strong area manager. Who do you know that's a great leader in the mortgage space? I'm like, oh, you need to talk to my buddy Corey over at this company. I connected him with Corey. Corey joined that team. Corey's, I'm like, hey, Rick, who do you know is a great branch manager? I connected with another person. But I started building a team at this mortgage company. And then they came to me and said, Rick, what would it take for you to join us? I'm like, well, right now it's real easy because I'm barely making it. So if I can just get a steady paycheck, I'm listening.
Jesus.
um,
No,
so
that's a lot. I mean, let's take it a step for a second, because that's a lot. That's so it sounds like without necessarily planning this, you were sort of thrown into a role, but thanks to, truthfully, your hunger, your desire to succeed, you got all these opportunities. And to your point, when they offered you that opportunity to teach these lenders how to prospect, it was, that's really what, I'm a realtor myself. That's really what any sales business is about. You have to be able to prospect. You have to be able to network, because there's no salary involved in our
no.
business. It's, you don't sell, you don't eat. So man, absolutely. So
But by the way, can you still hear me okay?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. My earbuds are starting to die, so I'm gonna take one out and leave one in. So I'm
No, no, you're
gonna have
good.
to change them out in a second. But no, you're right, and it really opened my eyes that look, this world that we live in, it really doesn't matter what you know. It really doesn't matter, where you went to college. In my opinion, right? Like I'm sure you could do studies and prove me wrong, but I'm just saying, in my perspective, it doesn't matter where you went to college, where you went to school. Like if you have a positive attitude and you work hard and you're driven, you can accomplish anything you want. You just have to put in the work and be consistent. And in today's environment, dude, it's so different now than it was when like we were younger. Like I don't know how old you are, Brian, but I imagine we're probably close to the same age. When we were coming out of college, there wasn't a YouTube that taught us how to be a professional, that taught us how to. There's so much content and videos on YouTube right now that teach you how to be a better salesperson. Like you really don't need to go to college anymore. There's so much resources out there that can teach you those same skills. Unfortunately, college gives you that diploma, which gives you the recognition of being a college graduate, and you need that. But my point is there's just so much information out there that we didn't have. So now you fast forward to, so I came into the mortgage industry 10 years ago. Fast forward, I'm now like heavily marketing and involved with branding and marketing and sharing content on Instagram. Dude, I don't know how to make a video. I don't know how to make a reel. I taught myself by watching YouTube videos. And I think that a lot of people get stuck. I feel that a lot of people get stuck because they don't challenge themselves to improve or grow. Like I have a 6-year-old daughter, and she'll tell me something like, Daddy, can you turn the TV on for me? I'm like, why? You press the button. Like I want to teach her how to do it so she can do it. It's the same thing with our salespeople. Like there's if you don't know how to do something, all you gotta do is Google it. You can learn how to do it. There's nothing holding you back.
Absolutely.
But for whatever reason, people get stuck in their head. And I feel like it happens because for whatever reason at a young age, we teach people, or how should I say this? Some will critique a child for asking for too much. So, like me, I'm always looking for opportunities. I'm always asking. So if I came to your office and I saw some t-shirts on the counter, I'd be like, Brian, those are cool t-shirts. Can I have one? Now, some would be like, Rick, you just walked in there and you asked for a t-shirt. I'm like, yeah, why not? If he says no, then the answer is no. Like, no big deal. Well, some people will see that as like being rude. I didn't mean to be rude. I was just asking like a t-shirt, right? My perspective is if you don't ask, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So why
Absolutely.
not ask? You know?
Absolutely.
So we talked about me coming into the business. So now I came into the mortgage industry. My first company wasn't a fit for me, so I made a move. And I started where I'm at now. I've been here now for 8 years at US Mortgage. So I started at US Mortgage. We had no business. It was zero. Our goal was to we had this huge goal. We got to get to 3 million in a month. Now we do that easily. But at that time, like 3 million, it was the number. That was the goal we wanted to get to from having zero. So I would come to the office every morning at 8:30 and just prospect, cold call agents and cold call loan officers. I was the business development guy, getting realtors in front of the 2 loan officers we currently have on the team. And I was also the recruiter, getting more loan officers on the team. And I would call you up, Brian. I say something like, hey, Brian, this is Rick over at US Mortgage. I'd love the opportunity to grab coffee with you and get to know you and your business. And you'd say something like, Rick, no thanks, I already have a lender. And I would respond like, Brian, that's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And I'd just be so excited. And they on the other line, like, Rick, I think you misunderstood me. I said, no, I'm not interested. I'm like, no, 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 I understood you perfectly. Thank you. I'm thrilled. Rick, I said, no, I don't want to. No, no, I know. I thank you. Have an amazing day. Rick, but Rick, why are you so excited of getting the no? And, and I would say, because every time I get a no, a yes is right around the corner.
That's
So
right.
I know that I'm going to get a yes soon. So that's how I approach my day. I would prospect and call for 2 to 3 hours a morning. I would then do appointments all day long. And those appointments would be from setting up, from my calls. And that's how I approached it. I look towards the opportunity, not letting that no affect me, but recognizing that a yes is right around the corner.
Wow. No, we're getting some sales training right now. We're getting some sales coaching right now on this
Yeah,
call.
some sales coaching.
No, this is awesome. I mean, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, if there's anything that there's a word that I would use to describe what you've been able to achieve so far, it's relentless. Right? You know that there's no stopping, or not actually no stopping. There's no point. There you go. Yep. I haven't read that book. I have to read it. But
I'll send it to you. This one's coming. Hey, after this call, text me your address. This one's coming to you.
awesome. Thank you. The I think especially in sales, and even for myself and my business, it takes a special type of person to be in this type of industry. And an industry, I mean, not necessarily like real estate, but just like in sales in general. Um, it's a mental thing. You have to continue. You have to, to your point. Behind every no, there's a yes, or around the corner, like you say. After a couple of no's, there's eventually a yes. Um, and to me, there's nothing like sales, especially in real estate, to help you get to where you want to be as far as wealth comes, right? Building your own business, reaching that level of wealth that maybe you could only dream of at some point, and sales is the way to do that. So that's very exciting. Now, I do before we go to a little bit further though, I want to take us up. I want to take you back a little bit further back. I want to take you back before college. If you could give us a little bit of your background, where are your parents from? I know you mentioned that you guys lived in Brownsville. Are your parents also college graduates? Do you have any siblings that are college
So,
graduates?
so my parents are from Brownsville, Texas. They went to school there. My parents did not go to college. I was the first in my family to attend college. I wish I could say I was the first in my family to graduate college, but my sister, who's a year younger, is much smarter than me. And she graduated in like 4 years, and I graduated like in 5.5. So she beat me.
Well, what would you
so
say? What would you say that? What pushed you, or was it they that pushed you to go to college? What was cemented in your head to say I have to go to college?
I think at that time it was just embedded in me from my parents and from the society that you need to go to college and get an education to be successful in life. And at that time, like in the early 90s or the 90s and 2000s, like it's a different time than it is now. Like if you don't have a college degree, you really can't even get an interview
Yeah,
for a professional type career, right? Like if you don't have a college degree, they're not even going to talk to you. So it was just a perspective that's needed, and being the first in my family to go to college and achieve it was also a driver, a motivating driver.
absolutely. I would
I
say
think also my parents, they wanted to like not be failures at parents, so like making sure I go to college and get there. See,
definitely,
they were very supportive, and they've always been incredible.
absolutely. I think for a lot of people, um, with our back, as far as being Hispanic and maybe moving to this country or immigrating, um, there's always that belief. It's like we're going to make this sacrifice, but I need you to take advantage of it, right? Similar, when my parents came to the U.S. and even now as a parent myself, it's like it's like I'm sacrificing all this time. I'm doing all this all this grinding, if you will, to make sure that you don't have to. And then, whether you decide to go to college or, maybe you'll want to be a real estate agent too, build your own business, whatever it may be, that's one less thing you have to worry about, right?
Mhm.
Um, I definitely I wanted to touch on that because sometimes, people leave that behind and they're like, you know what, but what really pushed you? Like what, what
I,
got you
I
to college
reflect
in the first
I,
place?
I
You
I
know.
reflect often on my childhood and my experience there because especially now more than ever, when you have kids, you really reflect on your childhood to be like, okay, I need to do a better job here. And it really brings you back to when you were at that age. So I reflect often on my childhood, and I've recognized like the things that I've done that helped me be successful in life, but also the things that I've done that um, were hurdles or challenges. And in saying that, one of the life lessons that I imprint on my daughter is that there is no winning or losing. There's only winning or learning. You only learn by trying and making mistakes. If you make a mistake and you fail, that's okay. You learn what to do better next time. But if you don't try and you don't attempt, well, then you're a loser.
Absolutely.
So that's the only time you're a loser is by doing nothing. So
It's
there is
very
no winning or losing. It's only winning
and
or
it's a
learning.
powerful lesson, and it's a very powerful lesson that we all want to teach our kids, but even as some adults, you know, we limit ourselves sometimes so much by beliefs that maybe we've grown up with, beliefs that we told ourselves. It's like I won't ever be able to do this, except that simply because we convince ourselves, sometimes
We
and it
get
could
too
be
afraid of
actually,
failing. We get too afraid of failing or making mistakes.
yeah,
And,
but,
and it's from our parents like getting on to us. We make a mistake, we do something wrong, we get punished, or from school, we get really wrong, we get punished. We're taught certain things. And like, I remember just being a very active, chatty kid and always asking questions and asking for stuff. And some elementary school teachers maybe that ran them the wrong way. Like I was too active and I was too chatty and I was too this and I was too that. And and maybe I didn't fit in that system. Like if you look at many of these successful entrepreneurs that are crushing it in life, didn't fit in that system. And that's okay. Like you don't have to fit. Be you. Be you. Don't take challenges. Don't be afraid. Go out there and get what you want to get. Work for it. And that's
absolutely,
yeah, put in the work. That's the message that I also want to make sure I leave people with.
absolutely. So, all right, so let's bring you back now to current. Like one of the things that I mentioned at the beginning, you helped your company open up, I believe it was 7 additional branches. Now I don't know if anything has, if you opened up any more since then. But talk to us about about your most recent achievements and how everything that we just spoke about helped you achieve those goals.
I mean, I think probably my most recent achievement, and you're gonna laugh, is being invited to this podcast where I'm considered an
Ah,
icon because I mean it's true, dude. Like we all I feel like we're all like doing our stuff, right? It's always nice to be acknowledged or invited to be a part of something. So to me, like this is a huge achievement. Like I'm very grateful for it. In my business, I look at obviously like my goal is to build a team. I want to continue building, I want to continue growth, but I also don't want to get I gotta also keep myself in a place to where like look at the small wins today. Because as you know, you're a broker, you have a team, right, Brian? You have a team of realtors?
no, I haven't seen
No.
it. It was yeah, I had a husband and wife team, but not
Okay.
not
So when you're a leader and your success is based off of recruiting or bringing people on, like you may only have 3 to 5, maybe more if you're crush if you're amazing, but you may not have many wins in a year, right? So if I'm only having 3 to 5 wins a year, that means I'm having 360 days of real losses. So you have to look at I look at everything as just like planting seeds and just trying to help one person and contribute to making one person happy every day. I feel that a lot of people are going through challenges in their life, and everyone is going through something. Everyone has something going on in their life. They might not share, right? Right? Like, you and I are talking right now, having a great conversation, but you don't know the scars or the challenges that I may be having in my personal life behind the scenes, and,
right.
and vice versa, right? Like we don't start off with, "Hey Brian, by the way, last night my wife left me, my dog threw up on the car," whatever. Um, People don't share those things, so I make it my goal to like try to bring a smile to everyone, like everybody I talk to in a day. Try to bring a smile to someone's face. Try to make somebody feel good because I feel that someone's going through something. And by doing that and making that part of my mission, it's just part of who I am and aligns with how I run my business and my team, and how I'm continually looking to grow and stack on multiple successes. So to answer your question, And I look at the small successes. I'm honored to be here. Um, Professional successes. Like, dude, one of my biggest professional success, and every single year I'm thrilled to do that, is have a loan officer on my team that is number one loan officer in Georgia and like number 13 or 15 in the country in the NARP top 250. And
Wow.
she's done that now for 8 years in a row, number one in Georgia. So to me, that's huge. Like, who else can say if they're the number one in their profession 7 years in a row in their state?
That's incredible.
So to
What
me,
was
that's probably one of my.
would you say that you helped her achieve that yourself?
I would say that I don't feel that anybody can do anything on their own. We all need help. And I've definitely contributed to her success, but I've contributed to a lot of people's successes, and they're not all there, right? A big part of her success is her, is how she works and how she approaches her day and how, but I like anybody, I've contributed, and I'm just super proud for her because I know how hard she works.
Absolutely.
It's hard, man. Like, she'll probably tell you, like, "Oh yeah, I couldn't be here without Rick," but I feel the opposite. I'm like, "Girl, like, you did this all. I was just there pushing you. This is all, like, I believe it's all through her hard work."
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's, and I completely understand, but I do not believe her. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to be able to recognize, and I know, because I'm similar, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
anytime somebody says anything nice about me, I'm like, no, 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 like, no, I'm not, whatever. But sometimes you have to accept it. You will now have, as you said, almost 20 years in the industry, or in the business, give or
Me,
take.
I'm 12.
12 years. Okay. In this, specifically in this industry. Right, correct. But it's 12 years of relentless work, of learning, you have been able to figure out what many can't, and it's like, what is it that you need to be successful, and it's just that, it's that hunger, it's that, and it's not enough to just be relentless. It's not just enough to have that hunger. You also have to have that structure. You also have to have that guidance. And
And
as you
that
know, a lot of people in our industry, it's like they'll have that hungers, especially people in our community. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but it's like a lot of times you're just I don't know, shooting blanks, if you will. It's like nothing's hitting because you don't know where to go, and you've been able to provide that. So yeah.
and I saw this speech by Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you saw his documentary, it's incredible on Netflix. I saw the speech by Arnold that he gave at a commencement graduation, and he said, "You can call me this, you can call me that, you can call me whatever you want, but never call me a self-made man." Yes, I was the number one bodybuilder on the planet for multiple years. Yes, I was one of the top movie stars on the planet for multiple years. Yes, I was the governor. I could not have done any of that by myself, and neither can you. I came to this country as an immigrant, didn't know a single person, and John Weeder was kind enough to take me in and teach me and connect me with other bodybuilders. And those other bodybuilders pushed me, and we collaborated. And I didn't have, like, when I'm immigrating to America, I didn't have nothing. They gave me pots and pans to cook, and thanks to those people, they got me on my path. And then thanks to the people I surrounded myself, they kept pushing me and helped me get better. So I feel that if you really want to improve and become a better person, like, you have to surround yourself by people that are better than you and want to see you succeed and successful, right? Especially in the Hispanic community, like, we have so many people that are haters and be like, "Oh yeah, like, I know Rick, he's not that great, blah blah blah." Like, cool, like, that's your perspective. I don't want to hang around with people like that. I want to hang around with people like Brian that see stuff in me that I don't see, that see me better than I see you know what I mean? I want to hang around with people that see stuff in me that want to push me to be better and want to put me in a positive light. So when I came in the industry, I was looking for a mentor in mortgage. And at that time, I said 12 years, actually closer to like 10. I think 9 or 10 years I've been in the industry now. At that time, there were not a lot of Hispanics in leadership roles at mortgage companies. It's gotten better. It's still not a ton. If you look at percentages, it's still not a lot, but it's gotten better. So at that time, I started reaching out to anybody that I can find that could be a mentor to me. And thank God I came across, do you know Patty Arabiello?
No.
Well, she is one of the most remarkable people in our industry. She's the owner and founder of New American Funding. President, I think she might be the president, but owner and founder. And I reached out to her, and she's like, "Yes, like, let's schedule it." And we used to have mentorship calls 9 years ago, and she was so kind to kind of pushed me down the path. And now, like, I mentor with other leaders in my profession. I do. I just reach out to them, call them up. Like, I love what you're doing. I'd be honored to jump on a call and have you mentor me. So
Absolutely.
I have three or
No, no, I was just gonna say, the last couple of minutes you just gave like a whole bunch of amazing,
nuggets.
notes and information and tidbits that can help people achieve so much. Um, and this falls for even if you're not in the same industry, like it's just in life in general. Um, I'm very similar to maybe I'm not as maybe like pumped up when I approach people as you are, but I'm very much the type of person that's like, hey, I feel, or to my understanding, you are the person that I need to talk to get to this next level, to
Yep.
understand this process, or understand this industry a little bit better. And I've never felt ashamed, and thankfully that has opened up a lot of doors, right? Because if there's one thing that I've learned, especially about people that are where you want to be, for the most part, they're always so willing to share information. They always want to give back because once you reach a certain level in life, that's all really that you have left. And people, that's what they want to do. They just want to give back, give back. It's not always about giving money and giving like material things. It's the teachings that they can leave behind to help people enrich their lives as well. So it's incredible. It's incredible, absolutely incredible what you're doing, and
Hey,
you've been
thank
making
you.
me think about things that I want to do.
Good,
I need to start reaching out to more people.
dude.
Uh,
It's so when I first joined NAREP, the co-founder, he passed away a few years ago, but his name was Ernie Reyes. And Ernie had this quote, and I'm going to butcher it. I only remember the first half of the quote, so we'll kind of make up the second half. But the quote says something like this: "If not you, then who? If not now, then when?" There's always going to be people smarter, better looking, and that's the what I remember. That's all that I remember. But if we were to
all
fill in the blanks from there, I believe it was something like there'll always be somebody smarter, better looking, more educated, wealthier, but you'll never have your chance unless you shoot for it. So something like that. And that quote is so true to this day, right? It aligns in every single profession, it aligns with everything. If not you, then who? Go get it. You're the only person holding yourself back.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, Rick, thank you so much again for being on the show. This was amazing. It's a lot more than I expected it to be. I learned so much, and I hope everybody listening
Yeah,
will take all this away.
before absolutely, and wrapping up, I would love to just kind of leave people with a couple book recommendations. I've gotten
Please, absolutely.
over the past couple years, I've really got into reading books that have helped me like with my perspective. And I think perspective and mindset is like 90% of it. So I'm going to send you this book, but this book is called Relentless. It's written by Tim Grover. Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's strength and conditioning coach at a time where they didn't believe in strength conditioning in basketball in the early 80s. So they thought that if you were to get muscular and big, you'd be a bad basketball player. But so this book talks about this, how Tim Grover was going all around the country trying to like convince basketball teams to let him train them and build them to be stronger, and nobody took him up on it. So he leaves a flyer in the Bulls locker room, and he gets a call, and it says, "Hey, actually, one player wants to meet with you on the team. Here's his address. He wants to meet with you Tuesday at 10 a.m." And Tim's just like thrilled. He's like, finally, somebody's willing to meet with me. So he shows up, and it's Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan owes a lot of his success to him. And the book talks about just being relentless. It talks about the things you and I talked about. It's just an incredible book. It's by far one of my favorite books. Another book I want to recommend, I think I might be all out of them. It's called Building a Story Brand.
Building a story brand.
Building a story brand. I think the author is Donald Miller. Let me Google it. Donald Miller. Dude, I can't. Every person in our profession should read this book. Every person.
Okay.
So, what else? What else do I kind of recommend? Those are my two favorite. I mean, there's so many great books, but I would stick with those two favorites. And yeah, if you wanted, Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willing.
Extreme ownership.
Yep, I love that book because I feel like we're in a world where a lot of people don't accept ownership, right? It's always somebody else's fault. It's all, to me, like, no, it's my fault. Like, I should have prepared. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have been strategic, right? So I just love that book's Extreme Ownership. And then Jocko wrote another book called like the Leadership Playbook or Leadership Tactics. And I tried listening to Jocko's podcast, and it was a little bit too much for me, too aggressive. But his books are fantastic.
I have to check those out. Absolutely.
It's called Leadership Strategy and Tactics. And this book has been helpful for me because sometimes you may work with people that you don't see eye to eye. Sometimes you may have a leader that you don't agree with their philosophy or their strategy or whatever it is, right? And this book just teaches you how to work with these individuals and build rapport. And dude, the book's been super helpful to me. So these are books that I highly, highly recommend.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to look into them. And I appreciate you wanting to send Relentless over. I greatly appreciate that as well. But again, thank you so much for taking time out of your
Absolutely.
day. I'm super thankful to have you here today, and I look forward to meeting you again in some future events.
Dude,
And thank you again for being on the show.
thank you, man. Thank you.